This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon. Happy Monday, everybody. Joining you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, I'm Carl Deffenbaugh. It is 12:30 on this Monday afternoon as we get ready for another 2-hour edition of the Wisconsin Live Desk, bringing you the news as it happens from here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, across the state and across the country and the world as it dictates. If it happens over the next 2 hours, we will take you there live with our different feed of cameras and networks around the world. A couple things that we're going to track for you here over the next 2 hours or so. First and foremost, an absolutely gorgeous day throughout downtown Milwaukee as we see all that sunshine, the roof even open if you can make it out there at American Family Field. It is beautiful, 67 degrees here in downtown Milwaukee and even warmer in some other parts of the state today. We are also tracking the release of a hostage by Hamas. As we pull up a feed for you here, this is actually from New Jersey, but it pertains to the release of an Israeli-American hostage, Eden Alexander, who was released by Hamas in what is believed to be a goodwill gesture, trying to show some support and ability to work with the Trump administration for a possible new ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Eden Alexander is a 21-year-old who was first taken when he was 19. More than 19 months he has been held in the Gaza Strip after the October 7th attacks by Hamas of 2023, which set off the war in Gaza. He is born in New Jersey, but then moved to Israel and served in the Israeli military until he was taken hostage, again, almost 2 years ago until today. Alexander was released to Red Cross officials and then to the Israeli military after that, and is now with the Israeli military, finally free after such a long stretch in captivity under Hamas control. So those celebrations are happening in his hometown in New Jersey and, of course, in Tel Aviv and other parts of Israel around the globe today. And then something else we're tracking nationally as well. We're going to take you live as soon as this press conference starts with the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, a former Wisconsin congressman as well, but now the Secretary of Transportation. All of the issues recently at Newark Airport, and the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, is going to address those issues and some of the problems for air traffic controllers losing contact with planes multiple times now at Newark Liberty International Airport. As soon as that begins, we will bring you there live. But we are going to start locally here in Milwaukee with the story of the day, unfortunately a tragic one here in Milwaukee, as we join our own Aaron Mabin, who is out live on the scene for us now today. Let me pull up Aaron here as we get you going for coverage. Aaron, unfortunately, I wish this was a better story we were joining you with. A deadly house fire, and the new information today that even more people died than were originally feared. So take it away. You're near 27th and Highland. What is the story you're working on today?
Well, I kind of want to take you back to yesterday, Carl, when we were out here. This was a huge scene. They had a number of different departments. We are talking about dozens of firefighters who were out here. And then we get out here today and we learn that news of 5 people being dead from this apartment building fire, and your heart truly breaks. And then we see the aftermath of this fire. You're taking a live look here at 27th and Highland, and as we push up, you can see, if we really look in the windows and look inside the apartments, there's just so much black and charred inside. And this is such a wild thing that you're looking at on the 4th floor. I'm learning from neighbors here that someone actually used their curtains to come down, to drop down, because they really wanted to survive this fire and escape this fire. Because we know that firefighters were using ladders to pluck people, around 30 people from this apartment building. But then we've also learned that people were literally kicking their windows out. And you see it on the ground. Eddie, can we come to the ground here? We can see the windows here that were, thrown out, so people pushing their windows. It's also right here in that awning, so they stepped outside and they waited to be rescued. But not everyone was able to be rescued. We know 5 people are dead, and I just talked to someone who runs this apartment building, and he says 2 of those victims were women who lived together. They did not make it out. I want to hear more from people who survived this fire. Eddie, come on over here, please. This is Eddie Edwards, who lived in this apartment building. How are you doing right now? Because you're doing fine. What was your night like, and where's your heart right now?
And I'm just lucky to be still here, because I had to jump from my floor, because I live on the 4th floor where the court area is, and there's nothing but balconies right there. And so I had to jump from the 4th to the ground to save my own life. in my family life, and then I had to also rescue a baby.
Tell me more about that, because this story is wild, you all. You didn't just rescue a baby. You caught a baby.
Right.
How'd that happen?
The lady, she was just screaming, talking about, me and my baby need to get out. Please, somebody help us. I said, the fire department is on its way. Just throw the baby down and I'll try to catch it for you. And then you climb down and I'll help you down too. And then I had to help my neighbor on the other side to get off her balcony. Because she lives on the same floor I live. And she climbed from balcony to balcony to balcony. But I wasn't thinking at that time. I just jumped. And lucky I'm still here today.
That's just, just a remarkable story. Why are you out here right now? Because you guys can't go in. Why are you out here right now?
I'm kind of trying to get most of my stuff out of here, but I don't know when it is. My car is underground. I have to go to work, and I got to go to work, and I can't get to work without my car. And that's the only reason why I'm out here, still trying to get in the building to at least get my keys, because I wasn't thinking about my keys at that time when I was trying to get out.
You're thinking about your life. You weren't thinking about your keys.
Right.
What do you really want to know right now? There are a lot of questions. What do you really want to know right now?
Where I'm going from here and where I'm going to live, but the rescue mission, Red Cross is trying to help us out, but they ain't giving us no answers right now.
Eddie Edwards, thank you so much for being with us. I want to bring in Miss Nicole Nelson, who's here as well. What a night you've had, what a day you've had too. I kind of want to go to the beginning yesterday. Miss Nelson, when did you realize that something was off?
Hearing somebody screaming out the window, help, it's a fire. My phone ringing, my son telling me, get out right now, get out, there's a fire in the building. I'm starting to smell smoke, and I couldn't quite grasp anything, myself for a second there. But I grabbed my jacket and some clothes and went out the door. I felt my way out my door. I knocked and banged on the lady door next door, because she's elderly with a walker too, and I didn't know if her family was there with her or not.
You felt your way down the hallway and everything because it's so smoky, huh?
I wouldn't go back left out my apartment, because that would take me around and down to the elevator, and I know the exit is, my back door is right at the exit. My door is right at the exit right there. There's one door before that I felt on that door, and I banged on it to let her know, get out, get out. And I felt my way through the hallway. I noticed a few steps, and I felt the rail and walked down a couple of stairs, and then I pushed the door open, and all this smoke come out with it, and I just held the door open for a minute. I'm yelling to the lady next door, please come out. And I don't know if she got out or nothing, but I did find out her daughter or granddaughter was there to help her get out. So they were able to get their car and drive out before they were gone probably before I even started knocking.
5 people are dead who used to live by you. To hear that, what do you make of that?
I'm heartfelt, because probably it was unnecessary. You're into it with somebody. Just deal with the people you're dealing with. Why harm all these people? There's no care for life these days. In driving, living, just people don't care. People don't care for life no more. So, and right now I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna go from here. I got family. Not worried about that. I got family. So.
What is it that has you most upset right now? Is it just the actions? Is it the not knowing? What has you most upset?
Everything I got to go through to get just a few things. My medication. My medication. I got important medication that I have to take on a regular, certain hours. I haven't been able to get to that. I'm headed to Walgreens. Red Cross said they can call, but I still have to call my doctor. Some of my prescriptions need to come straight from them, so I gotta let them know that I've been burnt out my apartment.
I know you have a lot in your heart. I know you have a lot on your mind, so thank you so much for talking with me and sharing that story. I've been able to meet her son, Was that your daughter-in-law in the car?
Yeah, his fiance.
You have a great support system. You have a great network behind you. You've been on the phone with your daughter as well, so
Yeah,
we're thinking of you.
My
And
grandkids as
yeah,
well. They've
yeah,
been here for me too.
yeah. We're with you. We're thinking of you. So, Carl, I just want to take you back live here to the scene because, hey, look at this image right here. We have the state fire marshal that is right in front of the building in that orange shirt, and right in front of the state fire marshal there is some sort of dog that is with the state fire marshal's office. We did see that dog and that state fire marshal going inside of the building. It looks like they're kind of wiping the paws down after walking in there. So we have reached out to the fire department, Milwaukee Police, the Department of Justice, the FBI. We've reached out to all those agencies because this is an ongoing investigation. And you heard it from the people that we've interviewed. They want to know, how did this happen? What exactly went down? What causes a fire to spread in a building so fast, and how exactly does that fire start? So all that is under investigation right now, and that is what we're trying to get to the bottom of. That is what this is about right now. That is what we're focusing on, how this began, and how do they prevent something like this from happening again. So a lot of emotions, a lot of frustrations, and a lot of unanswered questions. Carl, I know you have some questions, so I'm free to answer any questions that you may have right now, too.
Absolutely harrowing stories there from both of those residents you just shared with us live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Aaron, you mentioned the investigation. First and foremost, we're not sure what the cause of that fire is. One thing we did learn from the fire chief yesterday, though, is what was not inside the building. There was not a sprinkler system, and the fire chief kind of described how challenging that made it for Milwaukee firefighters and others trying to get in and put out what turned out to be this deadly fire. Tell us about the sprinkler system, or the lack thereof, why this building was not equipped with that.
Well, you know what, this building was built before 1970, and I believe the year was 1968 it was built, and at that time, sprinkler systems were not required for these large apartment complex. This one has 85 units in it, so when it was built at the time, the sprinkler system was not required to be in this building. So yesterday during this news conference with the fire chief, he's pretty upset about it. But things are grandfathered in, so there was no break of building code, there's no issue at all, but it just happens that people were living in this older building, and when this older building was built, it did not have a sprinkler system, and it did not have standpipes installed in the building, so it just doesn't have it at all. When the fire chief was really fired up about this, we should say, he said because a lot of these things are grandfathered in, he would love for this building to be updated, but that just did not happen. What really stood out to me from that moment is him saying when you go into a building like this that does not have a sprinkler system. Sir, I'm with Fox 6. You're with Milwaukee Police, though? Okay, Milwaukee Police just leaving the scene here. I just wanted to make sure I got who this was because he's very well dressed. He had a badge on, and that just helps us get clarity too. But back to the sprinkler system. No standpipes, no sprinkler system here. But the fire chief did say that the survivability rates is not as good when the building like this doesn't have those sprinkler systems.
And he even described, Aaron, what the firefighters dealt with, that there was fire actually blowing down the stairwell towards them, moving from one floor to the other. You think of fire going up, 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 but his firefighters experienced it kind of the opposite direction?
Went down.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hearing that it began on the third floor, and when firefighters went up to the second floor and they went to that stairwell, the fire started shooting downward at them. Imagine that, because fire travels up. So they're going up the stairs, they're going up this way, and fire is going down this way at them. So just picture that. So that's why the fire chief was saying that firefighters were literally, guys, down on their hands and knees, crawling to get people out of the building. They had to do that as well. So that was just a remarkable picture that the fire chief painted, and that's what we're hearing, just about the urgency to get people out. The fire chief also said, Carl, and I don't hear this often, that the first crews got here about 2 minutes after that call came in, and they realized very quickly that they were unmatched. These fire crews, that first crew was unmatched, so then they brought in more people to come here to the scene. They knew really quickly that the fire was burning really fast, and they were dealing with 85 units, a lot of people here too, and they need to get more people out here to the scene.
One last question for you, Aaron, because I know you have to get back to your reporting as well, and certainly sharing some of those so powerful stories from residents who did make it out, the survivors of this fire. You have a piece of video you're going to show us later on Fox Local and on Fox News tonight. I know we can't play that video now, but can you describe kind of what you're seeing from those early moments of the fire going through the building, and what our viewers will see later on?
We got here right at the scene, and I was able to connect with a man who said that he was out of town at the time of this fire, but he said that he lived 2 doors down from the area where this fire began, this common area, hallway area. He has a little bit of a doorbell ring camera on his door, so we see the moments that smoke is billowing. The smoke is billowing, and then within seconds, that image goes away, and it becomes black and gray, and it really paints a picture of how fast-moving the fire was, but also how thick that black smoke became. We also have another piece of video that shows about 15 minutes later from the inception, when that fire began. It is black, but we do see the lights of firefighters, Carl. We see their lights, them going up to the 3rd floor and the 4th floor to save lives. So all that's going to be coming around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock tonight.
All right, right here on Fox Local and on Fox 6 News, Aaron Maven reporting from the scene. 5 people dead. That is the worst news to share, but others survived because of those heroic acts from the firefighters and some of the other people inside of that building. Aaron Maven, we'll let you get back to it. The state fire marshal on the scene. We still don't know the cause of this fire, but we will see what else Aaron can find over the next few hours of his reporting. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And as Aaron gets back to his reporting, I believe he just stepped off camera there to try to speak to the fire marshal as well. We will stay on top of that. If we get any new information from Aaron or from our other reporters on this for you, we'll bring that to you live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and certainly look for that later today on Fox Local. In the meantime, we want to get you out to what I mentioned was also happening today. That would be a press conference with the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, after all of the issues at Newark Airport. Let's get you out there now. That press conference just started. Sean Duffy at the podium right now. Let's listen in.
Offering the support on the lines that run actually the telecom into the TRACON. They've assured me that this work is their top priority, especially Verizon. I spoke with their CEO yesterday. It's a top priority. They're going to move this work as fast as possible to get efficient and effective lines working for Newark. The goal is to add 3 new telecommunication connections between New York and Philadelphia. This will provide more high-speed, reliability, and redundancy, so if one goes down, we are assured that the others will stand up. The goal is to have this done as soon as possible. I'll give you an update as soon as we hear back from Verizon on how quickly they can progress with this work. Let me be clear. Even with these new lines, we still, as I mentioned, have to dumb down the data feed from these outdated systems inside of our towers, our centers, and our TRACONs. Again, I showed this last week. We're using equipment that looks like it's off the Apollo 13 set. And so today we have high-speed fiber, but when it comes into the TRACON, we do slow it down so it can be used by the old equipment. Our hope is to have high-speed fiber connections and then new technology in these towers, in TRACONs and centers, so we can maximize the use of American airspace. Number 5, the FAA is deploying a temporary backup system to the Philadelphia TRACON that will provide redundancy during the switch to a more reliable fiber optic network. This system will ensure that if both fiber connections fail, at the same time, air traffic controllers will still be able to communicate with aircraft and with other controllers. This fortifies communications, ensures it is uninterrupted if a dual fiber failure occurs. The FAA is going to establish a STARS hub at the Philadelphia TRACON so the facility doesn't have to pull that data from New York. So again, we're pulling it from New York. We want to bring that down to Philadelphia. By the way, the STARS system should have been brought down to Philadelphia before this TRACON was moved. Biden and Buttigieg did not bring it down. They just quickly moved the TRACON without having STARS in place and without testing how hard the equipment actually was in regard to telecommunications. Using existing statutory authority, I have as the Secretary of DOT the DOT will convene a delay reduction meeting this Wednesday with all airlines who have flights at Newark. The goal is to have a manageable number of flights land at Newark. Families shouldn't have to wait 4 or 5 hours for a flight that never takes off. By lowering the number of flights, we can ensure the ones that are kept, they do actually take off and they do actually land. This authority hasn't been used in over 20 years. As I've stated publicly, if Congress approves our plan, the President's plan, to build a brand new air traffic control system, work at Newark is going to be a priority. We will do that first. And so, again, to recap, and I'm going to pass it off to the administrator. We're in a situation where telecom is going down, and it's taken some time to isolate the problem, and we believe we've done that, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We actually have to spend the time now to build the network that should have been built before the TRACON was moved. I know this is frustrating. I know it's hard for the airlines operating out of Newark, the families that fly out of Newark. It's problematic. But our commitment is always safety. We're going to make sure that if you fly, you're going to fly safely. And if we reduce the number of flights at Newark, we're not doing it to annoy people. We're not doing it to delay people's travel. What we're doing is guaranteeing safety. And when you have problems, you actually slow things down. And that's what we've done. We've slowed down the flights at Newark until we can stand this system up and be assured that we have enough controllers and a system that's actually working to keep everybody safe. And again, we didn't have to be here. This did not have to be our story. Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for infrastructure, and virtually none of it went to fix the biggest American infrastructure problem that we have, which is our air traffic control system. And so what you see in Newark, we're going to have to fix. We're going to move fast, but we're going to do it right. My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old. And we are fighting to make sure we work with Congress, get the money, and begin this build of a brand new system as quickly as possible. This couldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump, who, again, I'm going to say, he talked to me when he gave me the job. He knew how old this system was. And so when I presented him this plan, he said, listen, I want you to walk through it. Are we going to do the whole thing? This is not a patchwork. It's not a Band-Aid. This is going to be everything. We're going to build it brand new. And I said, yes, Mr. President, this is a plan to build everything new. It's going to be complicated, but we don't want more Newarks. We don't want more Newarks to happen throughout the country. And so we are going to fix Newark. We have a plan to fix Newark. We ask for your patience. And then we're looking to Congress to give us the resources to fix air traffic for the whole country so no one has to deal with this in the future. And with that, I would like to pass it off to a guy who has done an amazing job in orchestrating his team, in building a Tiger team to make sure we can quickly and efficiently address the problems that we face at Newark and throughout the system. Our acting administrator of the FAA, Chris Rusholo.
If you're just joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, that was the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, speaking about changes coming as they try to fix solutions and problems to the air traffic control system at Newark Airport. This has led to some scary situations where air traffic controllers have lost contact with planes in the sky repeatedly over the last couple weeks. And it's also led to delays and a whole host of issues for people flying in and out of Newark Airport, including many cancellations as well. Let's listen back into this press conference a little bit longer here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
I can tell you uncategorically that the travel into Newark today is safe, but we will continue to monitor that situation as it relates to the technologies that the Secretary referenced earlier. And we will also work with the airlines, and the second reference was through this delay reduction task force meeting that we're having on Wednesday. That will be critical to working with the carriers to make sure that the travel season this summer is good for the American traveling public. So, again, first and foremost, we have a task force starting today with the right technical experts to keep focus on this every single day and to be transparent about the progress we're making. And the second piece is to make sure that we're working with the airlines and the airport, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, to make sure that the travel into Newark this summer is safe. The final thing I would mention, and the Secretary touched on this as well, is it is time. We have seen delays and disruptions in the system. We need to get ahead of that. And by being bold and taking action on this new air traffic modernization program, that will be the long-term fix, even the midterm fix, to make sure that we continue to provide safe and efficient travel for the American traveling public.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. As a former controller and now as a manager that helps oversee the air traffic organization, top to bottom, in all my conversations with our management team and with the controllers, they look forward to new infrastructure. They look forward to the commitment that is being made by this administration and the leadership by Mr. Duffy to work on equipment that is younger than the children that they have. I will tell you, when I was in the Air Force and I was a controller in 1999, I actually was the test bed for STARS. That's when STARS first came out, was in 1999 at Eglin Air Force Base. We tested that. As a controller at Albuquerque Center, it was almost 20 years ago where the ERAM system came in. That's our automation for our en route centers. And the issues that we have with static on the frequencies were problematic then, it's exponential now. So we look forward, Mr. Secretary, to the new infrastructure, top to bottom. We applaud your efforts, sir. Thank you.
So we're happy to take any questions if you have any. Yes.
Mr. Secretary, thank you. Could we see more air traffic controllers from better staffed towers come to Newark to help out?
I'll take a stab at that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it does take time to train up controllers from other areas. So if they move from the Potomac TRACON and move up to Philly, it takes up to a year to train them on that airspace, Frank. Am I right on that?
Average certification time, sir, for N90 is 2.5 years, but with our accelerated program, we hope to have that reduced quite a bit by a year to a year and a half, 2 years.
So it could be a year. So even you have a 20-year experienced controller, they move to a new airspace. It takes them a long time to train up. So we don't have the ability to just snap our fingers and move controllers around. It takes time to train up specifically on the airspace in which they control, which is why the staffing becomes an issue, and you got to see over the horizon on how you make sure you have enough in training to deal with any shortfalls that may come in the out years. Yes.
You've been saying that this is decades-old problems, and these issues have been present for years and years and years. So why didn't this administration initiate changes in their first administration?
Well, I think what we saw is the cracks that you are now seeing today were highlighted actually over the last 4 years. We were seeing more and more of it, and the president has said this a number of times. He had a plan to come into the second part of his administration because he knew what was going on to actually fix it. Some money, some billions of dollars were allocated from the last administration to this effort, and it was wasted. You don't see any result of any money that's been spent over 4 years. And by the way, they had no problem spending money. They spent a lot of money, and they didn't spend the money here. The president was understanding the cracks at the end of his administration and was going to fix it 4 years ago. But the last administration, they did nothing about it. And so as things get old, you get to the point where you're starting to hear some rattles in your car. That's probably the sign you bring it to the shop. The last administration was hearing the rattles, and they basically kept driving and didn't do anything to fix it. Yeah, Grady.
Thank you. First question's on Newark specifically. Last week, I think it was, United CEO said that the FAA regularly approves more than 80 flights per hour at Newark, even though it also tells the airline that 77 is the maximum. So I guess the question is that true? And if so, why is it happening? And then what's the target for reduction?
Yes, it's a great question. I would say to you, currently we're running essentially 24 to 28 arrivals. There's a lot of things that factor into the way the controllers can safely manage air traffic in and out of Newark. So that could be staffing, that could be technology, that could be weather. And all of those decisions are made based on the ability to safely manage that traffic in there. So there's no 70 flights an hour. There are arrivals and departures when you do the math. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is safe arrivals, safe departures. Right now, we're running a variable rate between 24 and 28. We expect that will continue. Again, when the construction project finishes at Newark, we will have an ability to kind of manage some additional traffic. But first and foremost, we're going to make sure our controllers are comfortable handling the workload they have, and then making sure that all those other parameters are factored into the decision to accept arrivals.
And what do you think an appropriate target is? I know you still have the meeting coming on Wednesday,
Right.
but do you have a number in mind going into it?
So I'll start from a place of whatever's safe to bring in there, and we're going to work very closely with the carriers and the airport to make sure that that is appropriately communicated to traveling public as well.
Mr. Secretary, one for you. In his previous term, President Trump advocated for the privatization of ATC. I know you've said that you don't want to go that route. I'm wondering if you've spoken with the president about that and what changed since then.
So I haven't specifically talking to the president about privatization. I don't recall whether he was supportive or not. But what we have to do is unify Congress. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's an American issue. And privatization is an issue that divides people. And if once the president and I and Chris are done building a brand new system and they want to have a conversation about privatization, they can do that. We'll be long gone. But if we have that, nothing is going to happen here. And there's more risk to the airspace. I'm not going to have more risk to the airspace. And so I want to keep everyone together, R's and D's. We're all wearing the same American shirt. Let's get it done together. Yes.
I wanted to ask about Wednesday's meeting and kind of piggyback off the question about flight protections.
As the Transportation Secretary continues to take questions there about the issues at Newark Airport, also passing some of the blame to the previous administration and work that was not done in his mind under President Joe Biden and the previous Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg there. We are going to take a short break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's been quite a morning or quite an afternoon already. 1:02, 2 minutes past the hour here. A quick break, and we'll see what we find for you on the other side of the Wisconsin Live Desk, ending here with a shot of our wonderful Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport. Very thankful that some of the issues Newark is dealing with out east have not handled or gotten to our airport here in Wisconsin. We'll be right back on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
good afternoon. Carl Deffenbaugh here. 104 and 70 degrees outside in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on this Monday afternoon. Great to be with you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, the newly expanded Wisconsin Live Desk, as we give you a nice shot of MKE, Milwaukee Mitchell Airport there, and switch things over to our downtown camera. Absolutely postcard-worthy photo there of the Milwaukee skyline on this Monday afternoon. A couple things we're tracking for you as we keep rolling along here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're going to take you out live shortly, not quite yet, to an update on what happened in Fredonia over the weekend. This actually started the end of last week. I believe we carried some of this for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It was quite the more than 24 hours, 38 hours, in fact, for people who live in this neighborhood of Fredonia, as a suspect is now in custody after, yes, a close to 38-hour standoff between that person and police and sheriff's officials in the area. There were shots fired inside of that home. Thankfully, no one hurt, and eventually a fire hose used to get that man out. We're going to have a live report on what exactly happened and where this goes from here after quite the ordeal for everyone who was in that neighborhood of Fredonia last week. We are also tracking something for you from another part of the country where refugees from South Africa have arrived in the United States. And this is a little bit of an interesting situation with many layers to it. Supposedly today, a group of 49 white South Africans would arrive in the U.S. with the Trump administration welcoming them as refugees. But that has faced a series of pushback from the South African government, disputing the description, even by refugee advocates who are questioning why this group specifically is being admitted to the United States when the Trump administration has so far suspended other refugee resettlements that were already approved and planned from other countries. All that happening since the administration took over January 20th. So once that briefing continues on this influx of 49 refugees from South Africa, we'll try to get you some more information on that. In the meantime, though, Sean Duffy is still taking some questions from reporters on the issues at Newark International Airport. Let's listen back in to what the Transportation Secretary is addressing with the media this morning.
Again, we're going to need more money on the telecom front. That was just a part of it, and we can use some of that money for what work we're doing here. That was the first part of your question. The second part was?
This current system requires a lot of maintenance. I think some of these outages may have gone down when maintenance was occurring. So how do you have, what's the roadmap to a medium-term solution where we don't have these type of outages, or will the backup system be enough?
So in Newark, we have, again, we've taken out the connections at the airports that were copper. We've made them now fiber. So we have fiber connections at the airports. We're testing those right now. We go through a 2-week test period before we flip the switch. End of May, we should be able to flip the switch and bring the fiber online. But we're having problems with some of the lines we're currently using. So we are pushing our contractors to actually fix these telecom issues that we have right now. And it was supposed to be the end of the summer. I don't want to give you a date because you're going to hold me to it, but we are pushing them to radically speed up the time frame in which they can deliver new telecom into the Philly TRACON, which should resolve the issues that we're experiencing, over the last 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah. 2 questions. One is, I know you said Newark will be a priority. Will it be the #1 priority given the confluence of problems that we've seen?
Yeah. So I think we're going to be able to do, we're going to have to do more than one location at a time, but yes, priority #1 is going to be Newark.
And then I understand you're placing a lot of the blame on the previous administration, but these problems are happening now under the second administration. Are you just unlucky, or are there some real issues that need to be addressed under this current administration?
If you buy a used car, you drive it home and go to bed, wake up the next morning, drive to the store, and it breaks down, is it your fault, or is it the guy that you bought it from sold you a lemon, right? So we have to recognize, again, because I think a lot of the media tries to say, oh, this infrastructure is failing under the first 100 days of the Trump administration or Sean Duffy as secretary. And I think that is a known falsehood, known lie by the media. You all know that it's been cracking. Those of you who cover aviation, there's been telltale signs, there's been conversations, there's been congressional hearings on this, and the fact that the last administration did nothing should be reported. The fact that they spent $1.2 trillion and really invested zero in this massive infrastructure build that America needs, aviation needs, and they didn't pay attention to it at all. That they would have moved the TRACON from N90 down to Philly and wouldn't harden the network and wouldn't move the STAR system down to Philly shows, I think, a lack of focus. And maybe when you work from home, or maybe when you work from Michigan as a secretary, you're not focused on the real issues that are taking place throughout the airspace. And that's what was happening at this department. They were focused on what we call a cockpit versus a flight deck. We had to change notice to airmen to notice to air mission, right? That was the focus, as opposed to you have a cracking system and let's get the money to fix it, or let's at least start the fix in that system. They didn't do that. And so I've inherited it. The Trump administration has inherited it. Donald Trump has said, we are going to fix it. We are not going to pass it off. So we are not going to do what they did. And so I fully embrace, as you can see, we've developed a plan, we've put out a plan, we've told the Congress this is what we have to do. We are not shying away from any problems, but I think it's important to recognize why we have the problems. You didn't get old, cracking infrastructure in 100 days. It came from the 4 years before where they chose to do nothing. And so we're going to fix it. The Congress has to help. And if they do, we're going to fix it quickly. They gave us the problem. We have the results in this administration. And again, we're going to continue to update you. If there's any other issues at Newark, we want to be transparent. We want to let you know what infrastructure problems there are. If there's telecom issues, we're going to let you know what those are. And we'll keep you apprised of how we're going to fix the issues that arise. Hopefully we're done. I'm not going to tell you we're done. My hope is that we're done. But as Chris Rushlow indicated, we are about safety. And I know there's frustration about the number of flights at Newark. I get that. I fly out of Newark. My wife flies out of Newark. My kids fly out of Newark. It's frustrating. But again, we're all about safety. And safety is the mission. And so if we can only do 24 to 28 flights an hour, that's all we're going to do to feel like we are adequate in the mission of keeping people safe going from point A to point B. And with that, thank you all for coming. We'll keep you updated as things develop.
That is the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, there walking away from the podium after detailing some of the changes and some of the flight restrictions coming to Newark Airport after a series of equipment issues that have plagued the airport over the last few days and few weeks, going back to an incident April 28th and another one on Friday where for a period of time a radar facility, actually in Philadelphia, but that monitors planes going in and out of Newark, went black for about 90 seconds. And that, of course, caused quite a bit of concern for the air traffic control workers with planes in the sky trying to get onto the runway there at Newark. Some of the issues the Department of Transportation is dealing with under the new Secretary, Sean Duffy, former Wisconsin congressman as well. All right, it is the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're going to get you back here on the other side of this commercial break to another big story coming out of the weekend here in Wisconsin. That would be the standoff that lasted well into the weekend in Fredonia. The suspect there is now in custody. We'll get a report from the scene on the other side of this commercial break on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, Carl Deffenbaugh with you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, from 12:30 until 2:30 now, an extended 2-hour edition of the Live Desk, bringing you the news as it happens here in the afternoon throughout the state of Wisconsin, and certainly over the weekend. I believe we covered this on the Live Desk end of last week, going into the weekend. The story was this long, hours-long, days-long standoff in Fredonia. We want to get you live out to Fredonia. Once again, our reporter on the scene on this story for us here this afternoon is Brett Lemoyne. Brett, great to have you with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll get into some of the details of the story, but first and foremost, what are you covering today? Kind of the fallout from what turned out to be this 38-hour marathon end of last week.
Yeah, exactly, Carl. Thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, the sheriff is responding to some of the concerns that neighbors have had over the last couple of days about this particular incident. As you can see behind me, there are still lots of detectives combing the scene here. They're sifting through what is left of this house here in Fredonia. This all started Thursday, May 8th at around 8:30 p.m. A neighbor heard gunshots and called police. In fact, so many people called 911 that Sheriff Christy Knowles says dispatch was bombarded. Investigators made contact with the 37-year-old man living in this home. Knowles says he made threats to shoot police and expressed a distrust in the government. Knowles says no shots were fired from the time police arrived until this all ended. That was some 38 hours later. Knowles says law enforcement tried everything they could to get the man out safely, including flashbangs, drones, tactical robots, even a recorded message the suspect's family gave to police. Knowles says nothing worked, so investigators tried something new. They sprayed water into the house, Carl, and days later, there is still water dripping from the side of the home. Police even cut power to the whole block, and they had to shuttle neighbors in and out all weekend as they sheltered in place. Knowles says police have been to this house before, but the man was never charged with any previous crimes. Fox 6 actually found some past restraining orders that had been filed. Knowles says the 37-year-old had, quote, a lot of firepower inside the house, but could not say how many guns or if they were obtained legally. The home itself, as you can see, not structurally safe. Knowles says the damage was done to get a 360-degree look at the suspect, who stayed on the second floor the entire time. Knowles says the man is currently in the hospital. The sheriff's department is recommending charges of recklessly endangering safety, but the man has not yet been formally charged, which is why we're not naming him, Carl. Of course, life is kind of slowly getting back to normal here in this neighborhood. We can look out and we can see there's people, a neighbor over here taking their garbage can back from the curb back to their house as this strange sight continues to unfold, as police still circling this home, looking for all the evidence, looking for bullet casings, and just trying to get a clearer picture of what it was like inside. Now, we were told that the man was not barricaded inside the home, at least as not that they could tell from the means that they had to look into the home, and there was no one else inside. So thankfully, Carl, this ended without any loss of life, and according to the sheriff, no one was hurt.
That is certainly the good news there. As we just heard from Brett's report, there are so many questions still to come. What exactly was going through this person's mind, why this all happened, and why it played out so long. I imagine there's the other side of it, neighbors trying to process what they experienced, what they heard, what they saw over this period of 38 hours or so. What are you hearing, Brett, on that side of it? Just, I imagine it's a relatively quiet neighborhood, usually until last week, how they are processing all of this and some of the memories and some of the reactions to that now a couple days later.
Sure. Yeah, I just spoke with a woman who lives just a couple blocks away, and this was the first time that she was able to get super close and get a good look at what actually took place and what is left behind here. And she said it was very frightening, especially Thursday night, when she says she could hear gunshots even from her apartment, a couple blocks away, which caused her to drop to the floor inside her own building. And so she was very curious as to what was going on, what was taking place out here. And she told me that she said that, as dramatic as this scene is here, as this home is behind me, she said even she believes this was the only way that this could have ended.
Yeah, that is maybe some proof in the outcome. Like you said, no injuries believed according to the sheriff, and no loss of life either. In terms of the timeline, Brett, what do we expect? Is this days, weeks, months until we kind of get some more information, or possibly charges in a trial for this man who caused so much damage?
Well, I mean, presumably, Carl, it's going to be months before a trial would start. But yeah, I mean, first things first, this man needs to get out of the hospital before any formal charges can be filed. Again, the Sheriff's Department recommending charges of recklessly endangering safety. But, you know, as far as the timeline goes, you know, only this 37-year-old and his doctors will be able to make that determination.
And certainly the neighbors there won't forget that for quite some time, years to come, I would imagine, after that. Brett Lemoyne reporting on this story for us, the fallout in Fredonia. We'll let you get back to it, Brett. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And again, you can see Brett's reporting later today on Fox Local as well, including some of the interview he did with that person who lives in the neighborhood. Brett, thank you very much. We'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, Carl.
While he continues his reporting, it is the Wisconsin Live Desk. We do have to take a short break for you here. But again, look for Brett's story, Aaron Mabin's story on that deadly apartment fire all throughout the day today as the news comes to you here on Fox Local. We're also streaming on the FOX6 Milwaukee YouTube channel as well. A short break here, and we'll see what we find on the other side on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Rolling right along on this Monday afternoon here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thanks a lot for joining us, whether it's on Fox Local, the free TV streaming app, or the FOX6 Milwaukee YouTube channel as well. We're here every Monday through Friday for 2 hours now, 12:30 until 2:30. The news as it happens, live, straight to your phone, to your computer, to your smart TV, however you're watching us. Welcome and thanks for joining us here. A couple things that we're tracking here over the next few minutes before I switch gears and hand things over to Ben Handelman, who will handle the second hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk for you. I want to show you a live look inside a courtroom right now. As you're seeing some of the signs on the wall there, this is a courtroom in Milwaukee covering the fallout of a Milwaukee police officer who faces significant allegations of criminal misconduct, according to the Milwaukee Police Department. All of this stemming from a video that showed a police officer identified as Vashawn Young firing gunshots as he is approximately 5 years of service with the Milwaukee Police Department, but was placed on a full suspension pending the outcome of this internal investigation back in April. Now, the story here is that cell phone video, according to this criminal complaint, goes back to March of 2022, showing Young while he was off duty driving in the area of 23rd and Burleigh around 2:30 in the morning. And prosecutors say that Young fired 2 shots toward 2 homes early that morning. Apparently was not looking when he fired his gun and then drove away singing. Young has been now charged with this. This is an appearance in court, and if it happens, we will bring that to you. But a Milwaukee police officer charged with some serious crimes, as those homes, by the way, where the shots were fired are directly in front of the Nova School, a COA Youth and Family Center, where different children go daily. And certainly, even though this happened early in the morning, 2:30, not when children would be around, a scary sight, so close to a place where children are. One of the other things we're tracking for you right now is happening out in New Jersey. These are a series of protests right now at an ICE facility, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility in New Jersey. Let's listen into some of the protesters there and see what we hear on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Again, this is from New Jersey. See what
we want our people free. We want our people free. We won't stop till our people are free. We will not stop till our people are free. We will not stop till our people are free. We want freedom. We want freedom, and we will not stop. We will not stop. We will keep marching. We will keep rallying. We will keep praying. We will keep standing. We will keep testifying. We will keep honking. We will keep calling. We will keep voting. We want our people free. We want our people free. Nothing less than freedom. 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 Nothing. I want to offer to any of our clergy. I want to say over. Say freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind.
While some of the singing and chanting and protests continue outside of this Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility in New Jersey, a couple other things that we're tracking here on the Wisconsin Live Desk for you. First and foremost, I mentioned that Milwaukee police officer is supposed to be in court today. As soon as that happens, he has not made his initial appearance yet. As soon as that happens, we'll try to get that for you. And also tracking the sentencing, I believe, for a wrong-way driver who ended up killing two different people on the interstate driving the wrong way. That is supposed to start momentarily as well. In the meantime, though, the Wisconsin Live Desk continues on till 2:30. My compatriot in this effort, Ben Handelman, standing right outside of this little closet we call our studio here. He's going to take over on the other side of this break. Actually, instead of that, we're going to leave up some of these protests happening outside of the ICE facility in New Jersey right now. So while this continues, we're doing our handoff here. Ben Handelman about to join you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, which rolls through until 2:30 each and every Monday through Friday. So as you listen to some of the protests and chants outside of this facility in New Jersey, I'll hand things over to Ben once we get our systems all switched over. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, y'all sound good. Y'all sound good. You sound good. It sounds like y'all serious about freedom. Sounds like y'all serious about freedom. Sounds like y'all serious about justice. Sounds like y'all serious about liberation. Sounds like you're serious about community. Sounds like you're serious about shutting this down. It sounds like you're serious about no more borders. Sounds like you're serious. Sounds like you're serious about putting your faith into action. Sounds like you're serious about freedom. Ooh, y'all sound serious. So I want to offer the floor. Offer the floor for one of our faith leaders like to share why they're here. Yes, keep honking, keep honking. Keep honking, keep honking.
My name is Sasha Ostrom. I'm the minister of the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and I am somewhat new to New Jersey still. I'm originally from
Ben
Phoenix,
Handelman here from the FOX 6 Wisconsin Live Desk, and I got to get you inside of Milwaukee County Courtroom here because we got an officer criminally charged, Milwaukee police officer. Let's listen in.
The conditions, Mr. Young, are no possession of a firearm or dangerous weapon. Failure to comply with the conditions of your release may institute further charges and turn that $5,000 PR bond into a cash bail. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Sir, you also have to be booked. You have to be booked between today at 5 p.m. and Saturday, May 17th. You need your fingerprint, address, and photograph taken and verified. You have 72 hours to do so. The criminal justice facility is open 24 hours a day. If you fail to show up at this time, you will have an arrest warrant issued for you. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Please stand by.
It can be any time.
Council, I have May 28th through the 2nd for proceedings and available. I have one more.
The 28th works.
It's fine. Could we do 8:30?
Mr. Young's next hearing will be May 28th at 8:30 for preliminary hearing and prelim. That's room 146 of the CJF before Commissioner Roth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Handelman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Okay, I got my sleeves rolled up here because it is a busy moments happening here on the live desk. You're looking live. This is Vashon Young. He's a Milwaukee police officer accused of firing shots while off duty out of a moving car towards homes near 23rd and Burleigh in 2022. Caught on camera on video. The video surfaced. He was under an internal investigation from the Milwaukee Police Department, and just now, recently, criminal charges have been filed. He is charged with endangering safety by use of a dangerous weapon or violent crime in a school zone. So, according to prosecutors, this shooting happened right outside the Nova School in Milwaukee in 2022, 2:30 in the morning. He was singing to music out the car while off duty, fired the gun, and when prosecutors presented him with the video, as it apparently surfaced somewhere, he agreed that, yeah, that's me, according to court documents. And now you're seeing him in court. Interesting, they just gave him a PR bond, which is personal recognizance. If you sign your name, you're good to go. You don't have to put any money up. You will not be put in jail. But he does have to be booked, meaning he'll have a mugshot taken today, fingerprinted. That will all happen today. And right now he's signing over some of those court documents to make it happen where he doesn't need to post a bond. His signature is good enough. He's agreeing to come back to court for this one charge, a felony charge, and he's currently on full suspension from the Milwaukee Police Department. He's been an officer for 5 years, so that is happening. I got to take you to another courtroom that's happening. This is same building, Milwaukee County Courthouse, and that on your screen, that's Jerry Anderson. Okay, let's get the volume on here. This is a sentencing hearing that's currently underway for Jerry Anderson. He has been convicted of driving the wrong way on I-43 northbound, killing 2 people in 2020, one person inside of his car, another person, an innocent driver on the interstate. At the time, he claimed that he was running from someone, that he was being chased, and he was doing it to try and get the car off his back. Okay, I think we're getting some audio here.
Good afternoon, all. State by ADA.
Let's listen here. So this is sentencing. How much time will Jerry Anderson Jr. spend in prison for killing 2 people?
State v. Lee hearing, which was only scheduled because at the time Mr. Joseph did not have counsel yet, but counsel has been appointed.
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly, so let's start with you.
Yes, I've been appointed, Your Honor. We need a preliminary hearing date in this case.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson and I spoke to your court clerk about pre-selecting a date.
Okay. Mr. Anderson?
We did, Judge, and with your approval, I believe May 23rd at 1:30 was selected as the preliminary hearing date.
Okay. All right. So, Madam Clerk, our next court date?
Next court date is May 23rd at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing in prelim court. I'm sorry, here in Branch 11.
Okay. Anything else today? Mr. Anderson?
No, sir.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Court is adjourned.
Yeah.
Okay, that was quick. You're watching here. This is Jerry Anderson Jr. We're expecting him to be sentenced today, but as you can hear, sounds like he needed a new attorney for sentencing. Again, a jury's found him guilty of killing 2 people driving the wrong way on the interstate on I-43. That happened in 2020. It was a wrong-way crash. I mean, he drove right on the wrong side of the interstate, right into oncoming cars, and what do you know? He hit one of them, killing someone in his vehicle and also killing one woman. As I'm just trying to see here. Okay, according to the criminal complaint, he says shortly before the crash in the area of 11th and Rogers, he said that a car he was not familiar with, occupied by someone he didn't know, began chasing him, hit his car, so he made the decision, these are his words, to drive on the interstate in the wrong direction, ended up killing someone, and he says he doesn't remember anything that happened once he entered the interstate. So, okay, that is over as they're going to push the sentencing to another date in the future as he needed a new attorney, and now that he's got one, they need to prepare for the sentencing. Prosecutors obviously asking for significant time in prison after he's been convicted by a jury of killing the 2 people. His defense of that was kind of in self-defense didn't fly with the jury, so he has been found guilty. All right. Let's take a moment here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We do have some things that are going on. I just want to reset here because we got this shot that we're watching in New Jersey as there is a protest underway after this is an ICE detention facility. The mayor of Newark was arrested after he says he was supposed to meet with the people inside. They said no, he refused to leave, and there was a tussle. And so more protesters have now showed up. So we're going to follow what's happening in New Jersey. We're following the weather here today. There's some news with Giannis. It's all happening live on the Wisconsin Live Desk. So that was a very busy first 9 minutes that I was here on the Live Desk. What will happen in the less than an hour we have left? Who knows? Stay with us.
Ask for your intervention in this particular.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. I was hoping to catch my breath as we changed out here from the first hour, which is hosted by Carl Deffenbaugh, which was action-packed, a ton of local news and things happening from Thiensville to the fatal fire. New information from Mayor Maben we just got in the last hour right here on your Fox Local app. And then when I came in here, man, have we been busy. We just saw two different court cases. One, a Milwaukee police officer was given a PR bond for his case, accused of firing a gun outside a window almost 3 years ago, caught on video though, and so now he's been criminally charged. And we just followed what we thought would be a sentencing for a man who drove the wrong way on I-43, killing 2 people, but he needed some more time because he's got a new lawyer, and so the new lawyer asked for some more time so he could prepare for the sentencing that we thought was going to happen today, but didn't happen today, so he walked in court and out of court. That's basically what's happened in the last 10 minutes. I just want to show you all of the shots that we are following because we've got some new ones for you. This just popped up. We are expecting to hear from Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court meeting with the graduating class of 2025 at Georgetown Law School. Every time, it's always rare for a Supreme Court justice to kind of go in front of a crowd with cameras in this kind of a forum, but it's about to happen in Washington, D.C., as they're getting ready for this forum. As you can see, all the students are lined up. These are members of Georgetown Law School as graduate. This is part of their graduation ceremonies here. But when the Chief Justice talks, he usually makes headlines. We are watching what's happening in Israel as the final American hostage was freed by Hamas. And so we're following different scenes both from Israel, where there are celebrations underway, and also in New Jersey. We had a live picture a short time ago. This is a live picture now, nightfall in Tel Aviv, I believe, as we're watching a live picture as President Donald Trump is also making a very important overseas trip to the Middle East. This was discussed today in a short availability he had this morning about what could happen on this big Middle East trip as he's going to several Middle Eastern countries. One of the biggest things talked about is actually not what's happening in the Middle East, but what's happening in Europe between Russia and Ukraine. They're expected to meet both the presidents of that country for the first time face-to-face. Will it really happen later this week? We will have to wait and see. We're watching the Karen Reed trial in Massachusetts. This state trooper has been on the stand for a long time. This is one of the lead investigators as Karen Reed's attorneys are trying to poke holes in the investigation after her Boston police officer boyfriend died. Prosecutors say Reed left him dead in the snow during a blizzard. She says she's being framed by his friends after they were partying all night. So the first trial ended in a mistrial. The jury couldn't come to a conclusion. But let's go to New Jersey right now, as I'm hitting the wrong button there for a second. This is a protest that's happening outside an ICE detention facility. The Newark mayor was arrested after visiting this facility, and then there was kind of a tussle between some of the Department of Justice officials and the Newark mayor, so he was arrested. But this is the ICE detention facility. Let's listen into this scene here.
Release them! Release them! Our second demand of Homeland Security is to allow a congressional delegation to complete their oversight visit, which has yet to be done. It is their legal right. Their legal right has been infringed upon. It is their illegal right to assess the detention center. Our third is to permit the city of Newark to conduct all necessary inspections. We don't know what's going on inside. We don't know if toilets are working. We don't know if the facilities are appropriate. We don't know if what the beds are. We don't know what's going on because there have been no inspections. There's no. Is there air conditioning? Are there children inside? We don't know. This is basic legal work that needs to be done. If we allow this to happen in Newark, if we allow this to stand in Newark, what does this mean for Brooklyn? What does this mean for Oakland? What does this mean for Baton Rouge? What does this mean for Philadelphia? What does this mean for Washington, D.C.? What does this mean for Seattle? What does this mean for Orlando? What does this mean for Atlanta? What does this mean for Houston? What does this mean for any of the places that we live? We cannot allow this to stand. So those are our three demands. 1, release the identities of those detained inside. We need to know. 2, allow the congressional delegation to complete their oversight visit. 3, permit the city of Newark to conduct all necessary inspections. And if you're wondering, well, why people of faith? Why faith leaders? Why people of faith from different denominations and different walks of life and different places? Why? Because we need to reclaim our faith narrative. Our faith narrative has been hijacked. There are people of faith who are claiming that this is correct. There are people of faith who are claiming that this is appropriate. This is hypocrisy. It's shame. 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 So you standing here today is a choice. It's a decision to say, are you a chaplain of empire or are you a prophet of resistance? Amen. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Are you on the side of empire? Are you on the side of disappearing our neighbors? Are you on the side of a police state? Are you on the side of a system that seeks to dismantle our communities and our people? Or are you on the
So this
side
is
of
a live picture right now. This is the Delaney Hall Detention Center out there in Newark, New Jersey. It's a 1,000-bed ICE detention facility. And last week, members of Congress from New Jersey, a delegation of New Jersey congressmen, as well as the Newark mayor, went to the detention facility. The congressional leader said this was due to the oversight that they have of Delaney Hall. They wanted to see the conditions inside. They were allowed inside. So the federal government, the people who run this detention center, allowed this congressional delegation to go inside, speak with some of the people who are being detained there. On the way out, that's when things escalated in what has been described as a brief but tense exchange with the Newark, New Jersey mayor, Ras Baraka, who's a Democrat actually running for governor in that state, and some of the members of ICE who were there. The mayor was detained briefly and has been charged with trespassing in the ICE facility. And now the members of Congress say the whole thing was escalated beyond what it needed to be as they were just checking out the conditions there of the ICE facility after, so much controversy with these facilities around the country, including here in Wisconsin. And so this now has become kind of the ground zero of some of those fights as protesters have now arrived due to this arrest of the Newark mayor. And you can see there are people from that detention facility on the other side kind of making sure nobody goes on the other side of the fence as the protesters have arrived there. So we'll keep listening in. You're listening live in New Jersey. Still waiting for the Chief Justice, John Roberts, to talk in Georgetown. And I do have a new shot of the Diddy trial. I'll bring that to you in a second here. But let's listen in on these protests as this photographer is getting a couple shots here, live from New Jersey.
Because if they're coming for one, they're coming for all. If they're coming for one, they're coming for all. It doesn't stop here. Delaney is just the beginning. We can end it now. 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 Now. Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Which side are you
on, my people. Which side are you on? Freedom's side. I'm Reverend Scott Samler Michael from Montclair, New Jersey, where I'm blessed to serve with my wife and partner in ministry, Anya, and it is amazing to see these colleagues here, united in faith, united in the love of God and the love of humanity. It's interesting to me as we witness our so-called national leaders exhibit a lust for dominion. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lust for dominion. They are preying upon the most vulnerable people in our society to show everyone that they can. It's not simply a matter of safety. Please don't believe that. We have had a broken immigration system for decades, and you know this crew deliberately torpedoed an attempt at immigration reform during the election so they could do this exactly right they're doing right now. It is unjust and it needs to stop. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. This lust for dominion is evil. It is a despicable disgrace. It is the worst guile of human intention, made to look as if it is somehow in the service of our nation, and it isn't.
Okay, so this is the ICE detention facility protest going on in New Jersey. Again, protesters are out there again after the Newark mayor was arrested after a confrontation with members of ICE last week, and you see protesters linking arms as they've been speaking at the microphone. They've brought speakers out there as well. Hey, I want to bring you out to Massachusetts, and we're going to check in with the Karen Reed trial because there's been some pretty interesting testimony. This is a state trooper. Again, this is the woman accused of hitting her boyfriend, a Boston police officer, with her Lexus and leaving him for dead in a snowstorm. Like in the middle of a blizzard. He ended up dying. Karen Reed trial. Let's listen to some of the testimony that's happening there.
Along with the my observation, obviously, of the vehicle, my focus began to concentrate on the defendant.
You share with us that you went inside and spoke to the defendant?
Yes.
Why did you speak to her at her home rather than ask her or force her to come to the police station?
Same reasons we interviewed the witnesses. The driving conditions, the time that it would take for her to respond, the comfort of her own home, or her parents' home, where she had just experienced a very traumatic event, being concerned for her well-being. We interviewed her in the comfort of her parents' couch.
When you interviewed her in her parents' home, where was she seated?
On the couch of her parents' living room.
Where was her mother?
She was in the home. I don't have a specific memory of her being in the room with us, but her father was in the room with us.
Did you ever try to separate the defendant from her father when you interviewed her? Objection.
Okay, that's the Karen Reed trial. That's Newark, New Jersey, that we're following as well. I want to show you also, we're still waiting for the Chief Justice John Roberts here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. One of these rare opportunities to hear from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He is speaking with Georgetown law students in a short time here. I'm not sure if this begins at 2 o'clock, but we do have a live picture of it. And when he talks, usually headlines are made because it's a rare opportunity to hear from the Supreme Court Chief Justice on various topics. And I'm not sure if he'll take questions from some of the law students, but he's speaking with the dean there, what they're calling a conversation. Also following the Diddy trial, it's a federal trial, so we can't have cameras in the courtroom. But I can tell you what has happened so far today. But before I do that, I just want to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, as once again, man, has this been a busy first 30 minutes here as we are going to take you all the way until 2:30 here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But that's a live picture from New York City, live picture across the river in New Jersey, live picture down south in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. area. So stay with us here on the Live Desk as there's a lot going on, and who knows.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Haleman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Man, I have not had a second to breathe for there is so much that has been happening here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and that is the power of this show and what we're trying to do here with these 2 hours here throughout your day on the Wisconsin Live Desk. If there is something happening live, we're going to bring it to you, and we're going to bring it to you in full context so you get to see the news as it's made, uncut, unfiltered. This is raw. This is like where the journalists in the room, they're ingesting it just like you are at home. I just want to show you the 4 shots that I have pulled up, although there's even more than this that I'm watching right now. This is a shot from Washington, D.C., Georgetown. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, expected to speak to a group of law students who are graduating, and this is a rare opportunity to hear from the Chief Justice, so we will follow what's going on there. We're following protests in Newark, New Jersey at an ICE detention facility after the mayor of Newark was arrested after he went with congressmen from New Jersey into the facility to see some of the conditions. After a couple of hours, and the group was kind of leaving in the parking lot, there was a confrontation, and the mayor has now been charged with trespassing, and this has become national news. And as that has happened, there you could see this group of protesters has arrived. Karen Reed trial, we were just listening in. This is the state trooper, one of the investigators. Karen Reed's accused of hitting her boyfriend with her Lexus in a snowstorm, leaving him for dead, and he did end up dying. The first trial ended up in a mistrial. Karen Reed says that she didn't know that that had happened, and she thinks she's being framed by some of the police officers who were there that night. That's her account of things, but it's been a really interesting, nationally watched trial. I also want to tell you what's happening at the federal courthouse in New York City because the Diddy trial is underway. Sean Diddy Combs, accused of dozens of felonies for sexually assaulting women during parties. And so this is a highly watched trial. Now, this is a federal trial, so we cannot get our cameras inside the courtroom. This is expected to last weeks. this trial. It's going to be a long one, and we're going to try and keep you up to date as we can here on the live desk. He's accused of, again, crimes against a number of women here, including his former girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, the singer known as Cassie. And Sean Diddy Combs is saying he did nothing wrong. All of the actions that you're about to hear out of the courthouse were consensual. First witness on the stand today was Israel Flores. It's a security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, testifying about what was seen on security cameras at the hotel, including hitting and striking Ventura in the hallway, and that went viral. So he said she had a purple eye and that Mr. Combs offered her cash. That is the early testimony out of the Diddy trial that is happening right now. Sean Combs. This is being watched really from all around the world as a hip-hop artist, mogul, music star. That's very interesting. Also interesting is what's happening in the Karen Reed trial here. This is the state trooper who's been on the stand now several days as prosecutors. They're using him as a star witness here. They've been picking apart cell phone records throughout the day. Let's listen in.
Aspects of this case?
Yes, there are a number of different ones.
Trooper Evan Brent?
Yes.
Did you look or seek other information after you left the defendant's house?
Yes.
Did you look for other witness statements?
Yes.
Did you try to obtain further evidence?
Yes, we did.
Was there an interview with firefighter Timothy Nuttall on February 8th?
Yes, there was.
And that was about 10 days after the incident?
Approximately, yes.
Did you learn any statements from him in addition to the earlier statements you learned that added to your investigation?
Yes.
I'm going to allow it.
And do you remember what Timothy Nuttall told you on February 8th, 2022 about any statements of the defendant?
Objection. So, folks, again, this is being offered not for the truth of the statement, but simply to show that the information was provided to the police.
Yes, Mr. Nuttall was one of 3, I believe.
So, talk about Mr. Nuttall, please.
Mr. Nuttall told me that the defendant stated, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Was that information different than the statements that you were first learned about that she had allegedly made earlier that night?
Yes, it was.
Did you interview firefighter Daniel Whitley on February 8, 2022?
I did.
When you spoke to him, do you remember whether he shared any statements about the defendant telling him anything about her interaction with Mr. O'Keefe at the end of that night?
I believe that he stated that they got into a fight.
Do you remember the words that he used when he described that fight?
I do not remember the exact words. Those will be reflected in my police report.
Would your police report potentially refresh your recollection?
Potentially.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've been listening to the, I've got the wrong shot up there. Okay, this is the Karen Reed trial in Massachusetts. This has been one of the troopers, but I got to get you out to Washington, D.C. because the Chief Justice
I want you to look at it.
is speaking with the law school there, so let's listen in.
Remember, if it does, I'll ask you about it. If it doesn't, then I won't.
Because this is my last time this evening. And I am so delighted and so honored that our speaker this year is the Honorable Chief Justice of the United States, John G. Roberts, Jr. Please join me in welcoming Chief Justice Roberts.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, before our conversation, let me tell you a little bit about Chief Justice Roberts. John G. Roberts, Jr. was born in Buffalo, New York and we're just talking, you were there until you were the age of 9.
Right, right.
And he received an AB from Harvard College in 1976 and a JD from Harvard Law School in 1979. And actually, one of the things we were talking before that I had not known was that after high school and during a college summer, you worked in the steel mills.
Right. United Steelworkers of America, job class 6, electrical helper.
Do you have a union card?
I had my union card, absolutely. The electrical helper carried around the electrician's toolbox, and every now and then when he wanted a little fun, he would tell you to tighten the screw that was still live. You tighten it and get a nice shock, and never got tired.
And so then you went to Harvard Law School.
Yeah.
And I asked you, when you decided to become a lawyer, and
about the second year of law school. Which was true. I hadn't gone to law school because I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a historian. And it's a true story, coming out of college, getting close to it, I was being driven from Logan Airport back to school and started talking with the cab driver, and he said, well, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a history major at Harvard. He said, I was a history major at Harvard. And I decided, nothing against cab drivers, but, and then law school seemed like a, reasonable alternative. And when I got there, I grew to like it, so.
That's you were the managing editor of the Harvard Law Review.
Uh-huh.
You graduated magna cum laude. And then your first job was you clerked for Judge Henry Friendly on the Second Circuit. What was that like?
Well, to be honest, it was transformational. At that time, in the late 70s, law schools, law profession, I think, was a pretty cynical endeavor. I don't think there were many people who viewed the law as something of some intrinsic value. It was instrumental. And as I said, people had a generally cynical value of it, and I was frankly wondering if I'd made a good choice, not having to want to go there in the first place. And then to spend a year with this remarkable man who, the one thing that was clear is that he looked at the law as something more than just instrumental. I don't want to overplay things, but sort of something with some beautiful interaction as a system of ordering, and then was just brilliant at it. I mean, after arguments, he would sit down in his office, had 2 little legal pads on either side. He'd start writing the opinion, and footnotes or other questions on the other side of the opinion. And then at the end of that, sometimes it took half an hour, sometimes it took a day and a half. He'd give it to the secretary, and she would type it up and then give it to one of the law clerks. And I'd look at it, and it was just, again, I don't want to exaggerate, but it was just poetry, and everything sort of fit together, and you could understand how it worked. And the last thing I wanted to do was change it. But he said, no, do what you can with this or that, and look at this point, and all. So, and I started, it really changed my whole view of the law. So that was important. Step.
I mean, I've always thought Henry Friendly was someone who thought that there were best answers to even the toughest legal questions.
And that's what he wanted. He was very bored with the easy cases, but he wanted the tough ones. And those of you, and you've probably read some of his opinions, can see that it's like an ongoing dialogue. He'll raise some proposition that's important, and then some qualification, and then link it up with something else. And it's also beautifully written.
And then you clerked for then Justice William Rehnquist.
Right.
And how was that like?
It was different in a lot of ways. One, he was a generation. Friendly was almost like 2 generations above me, and Rehnquist was kind of between the 2 of us. So it was a much more, not casual, but it's probably right. And Rehnquist was a casual person anyway, and it was very. Different approach to law. He was both similarly not cynical, but Rehnquist was very logical. I would say if you read his opinions, you can follow very clearly. You build step by step. Friendly was more sort of flowing. So in terms of learning how to write, it was a great combination. You could see 2 different styles, and I don't know what people would say my style is, but you can see when it's some opinions seem to fit a more sort of logical progression, and others seem to involve a little bit more need for more nuance, and you know, you try to, some styles fit different types of cases better. But Justice Rehnquist was just a delight to work for. He's very, very comfortable, very casual. You know, when he was nominated by President Nixon, everybody made fun of the way he looked because he had a real loud tie and the big sideburns. He looked like Buddy Holly. But, you know, he was comfortable in his own skin, and it's very interesting. Law clerks, both Judge Friendly's and Justice Rehnquist were, I think probably as most law clerks are, very loyal to their bosses.
Chief Justice John Roberts is speaking to graduates of Georgetown Law School down there in Washington, D.C. Very rare opportunity to hear from the Chief Justice. He's talking with the Dean of the college there. We'll keep listening in here. We're watching what's happening here in the Milwaukee County Courtroom. There's been some action. Different cases have come up. We can always listen in. This is public to listen in, so let's just see what's happening.
On the case currently set for trial on June 9th.
All right, so we've had a discussion chambers, and the discussion basically came down to witnesses issues and discovery issues. Fair to say?
Yes.
And it's my understanding that that because of some of those issues, at least the witness issue, because the state is not apparently ready to proceed on today's date.
Correct.
So you're
moving to adjourn, or in the alternative, to dismiss?
The case ending 2509, which is yours, Ms. Christofferson, is still set for June 9th. And that's when it's still set for jury trial, which I know that there were issues because of discovery and witness issues, but we're keeping that on for trial on June 9th. We can give you a pretrial date before that.
And, Your Honor, when the time is right, I would like to make a record relative to sort of the ordering of these cases, what I have maintained from the beginning, but also, again, with Attorney Mueller's record relative to the dismissal. I think she should make that first, and then I will go.
But we don't know whether or not the state's going to reissue the case or not, because they're moving to dismiss the case based upon those issues that the court just put on the record, because we're not going to be able to proceed apparently on today's date.
Sure, but unfortunately the record that the state just made was it said that it either is moving to adjourn or moving to dismiss.
I'll just restate it as moving to dismiss at this point based on everything that happened. The written pleading that I filed said to adjourn or in the alternative to dismiss, but there's been a whole lot that's happened since. So now it's just the motion to dismiss.
And it's motion to dismiss.
Correct.
So you're not moving to adjourn?
Not any longer, no.
All right. Well, then, based upon the representations of the state, the court's going to grant the state's motions, their case. They're the one who's prosecuting the case. And the court's going to grant their motion to dismiss the case without prejudice. Okay? And then on the motion of the state.
Judge, before we jump to Jane's case, I know that I discussed this at length with you in chambers. I do just need to memorialize something for the record. I'll do so briefly. That the defendant's position as far as the motion to dismiss was that the state's action in dismissing this case was to circumvent the exclusion orders that were ordered by this court pertaining to phone evidence and the jailhouse snitch that was ordered on Friday. And that based on that, the defense was requesting that it be dismissed with prejudice. Obviously, I know that in chambers this was already discussed, but I do need to put that on the record because this was inculpatory information that was by no means Attorney Lonsky's failure, but law enforcement's failure to timely obtain before
Ben Haleman on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're listening in to proceedings in the Milwaukee County Courthouse as Chief Justice Roberts is also talking in Washington, D.C. But this is the focus that we've got in the courthouse right now. Interesting stuff. Sometimes you dip in, you don't even know the case, and this is an individual, just his lucky day. The case has been dismissed, at least for now, as the state, the prosecutors, are having trouble with witnesses in this case before the judge down in the Milwaukee County Courthouse. So there's a lot going on here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and honestly, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes here, but we're running out of time, so I want to get in a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll listen back in, as there are several live feeds happening right now.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Haleman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Hey, thanks for joining us on what is the most unpredictable show that we have here, produced from the FOX6 studios. From this room, I have live feeds coming in from around the Midwest, from around Wisconsin, and really from around the country and the world. I want to bring you to Minneapolis. There is a really emotional press conference going on, but this is the joy of the live desk. Sometimes I don't even know what the live feeds are, and so let's just listen in and see what this is, because it's just popped up and it's caught my eye.
And for the record, I am also.
Okay, it looks like we don't have audio on this feed right now that's coming out of Minneapolis. That we'll try and bring that to you. But right now, yeah, we've lost our audio feed coming out of Minneapolis. Also happening at this hour right now, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, is talking. This is a rare opportunity to hear him outside of the courtroom, and inside his courtroom there aren't cameras. So let's listen to John Roberts talking to Georgetown law students. Hear what he's talking about.
I remember being very surprised when he came in and told me that he was going to leave, to retire. I said, well, David, you're in perfect health, mental acuity. Why would you want to leave? And it was a good lesson in kind of perspective. He said, well, I've been here, almost 20 years. I think I've made, my contribution, and I just want to get back to New Hampshire and back to reading some good books, which is, there aren't many people who would have that kind of perspective, including myself. I wouldn't claim to have that kind of view, but sort of a very good, balanced way of looking at all of it. And as we read a letter from the court to a departing colleague, and it was just that, part of it was he wanted to leave, white marble for the White Mountains. And he did. That's what he wanted to do, and so he did it, and kind of certainly very unconventional in that respect.
I mean, that's remarkable. I can't think of anyone else in recent years who's left the court really kind of at the peak of their powers. That's really, in so many ways, he was a remarkable man.
Very much so, and very, very pleasant to be around. Yeah. We got to know him a little better. Jane and I, our son was going to boarding school in New Hampshire for a while, and we would drive, back and forth and stop whenever we could and have dinner with him. And he had a reputation for being, very cheap. And he was. I think that's something people from New Hampshire pride themselves on. But he would buy dinner, so that was very, very special. We called him. We talked every year on his birthday, September 17th. It's easy to remember because it's Constitution Day, and always had a very, very nice conversation.
That's good. Actually, my wife Allison is here, and our son Liam's birthday is Constitution Day.
Well, there you go.
So it's a great day every way around. Now let me turn to advice. So as legal educators, we strive to teach our students to write and think and research at the highest level. And we also aspire to teach them to conduct themselves in a way that embodies the highest standards of our profession.
Ben Haleman from the Wisconsin Live Desk, as we're listening to Chief Justice John Roberts talking here with students from Georgetown Law School.
Sure.
You just heard him talking about the late David Souter, Supreme Court Justice, who died at the age of 85, someone who left such a rare, you heard him talking about leaving at the top of his game, really, as a Supreme Court Justice, deciding to retire, retired up to New Hampshire, and passed away at the age of 85. So we're still following this. A couple of live shots that are still happening is there's that ICE detention facility in New Jersey. Protests continue there. We're still watching this shot from Minneapolis, trying to get audio. It's been an emotional press conference here, trying to figure out what's going on there. But we'll see what's happening here in our final minutes here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Haleman here from our final minutes here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is a beautiful day in Milwaukee. Sun is shining, 68 degrees, a little bit warmer temperatures out there, and I was in such a good mood until I saw this tweet that's making some news today here in Wisconsin. It's coming from Shams, who is a NBA insider from ESPN, saying in his tweet, two-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo has not made any firm decisions, but for the first time in his career, he is open-minded about whether his best fit is remaining in Milwaukee or playing elsewhere, league sources told ESPN. Giannis thinking about leaving and going somewhere else to win an NBA championship. Hey, we got a poll about this. Will Giannis Antetokounmpo play for the Bucks next season? This depresses me to think that Giannis would ever leave. According to Shams, that it's a possibility that he's thinking about it, which I think is actually a pretty hysterical headline, that he's just thinking about possibly going somewhere else but hasn't really decided. I mean, he's still under contract with the Bucks. They'd have to trade him basically to send him somewhere else. So that's the good news for the Bucks, that they would basically get a whole new team if Giannis were to go somewhere else. But I don't think Giannis is going anywhere. That's my thought. That's what my vote will be. Let us know in the poll here on the Wisconsin Live Desk as Giannis Antetokounmpo making news on your Monday in Milwaukee on what otherwise would have been a perfect day here in Milwaukee. I want to take one more quick break because when I get back, I just want to show you all of the live feeds that are happening at this hour.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk in our Brown Deer studios here at Fox 6. Wow, this has been a wild hour here on the Live Desk. We really started off with a bang. There's been so much happening in court. This is the power of your Fox Local app. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you download the Fox Local app because you can follow all of these stories from the courtroom. Also, we had a very long standoff over the weekend up in Ozaukee County. That has come to an end. We're following the fatal fire, 4 people killed over the weekend. We're following this Giannis news in the sports department. You can watch all the feeds on your Fox Local app. We'll see you on Fox.